Hi, and welcome to the next installment in our VoltScript Adventure series. Today we're introducing OSUtils VSE. My name is Rocky Oliver, and I'm one of the lead geeks at HCL Labs working on the VoltScript scripting language. OSUtils is a small helper VSE that gives you some handy utilities for working with your system environment and file paths or directories. The VSE is comprised of two main classes, OSUtils, which are used to do things such as access environment settings, make or remove directories, or determine if a file or directory exists, and so on. PathUtils is used to get a list of directories as a string array or build a new directory path. Okay, that's enough with the slides. Let's dive into some code. Now, as always, I began by creating my atlas.json and running install via VoltScript dependencies so that I could pull down the OSUtils VSE. I got the information for knowing what this looks like in my dependencies by going to the help for this, going to VoltScript extensions under references. So references, VoltScript extensions, and if you scroll down, you'll see that there's one for OSUtils. I copied that and then pasted it in here before running install dependencies. You could also come here to get to the help file or the API doc for OSUtils. You just need to click on the link here and it brings up the help. And you can go and we're going to start with the OSUtils class and work through that. And here's the methods and the properties that are a part of that class. As you can see, for properties, you've got things that you typically need a lot of the time. Home directory, which is platform dependent. So by using this, you don't have to detect what platform you're on to pull down the user's home directory. We have the platform, so you can determine what platform this code's running on, and tip directory, which pulls down the user's tip directory or gives you that path. Uh, and that also could be platform dependent, so we've made it a little easier here. And then we have some various methods for getting environment variables and setting environment variables, getting sizes of files, checking for directories and files, etc. So let's take a look at the code now. Now, as you can see, I've got my OSUtils pulled down, like I said, with dependency management. I'm loading it using use VSE. And I'm going to start off by showing you the get environment and set environment variables. What this does is it actually takes kind of a snapshot of your systems or the system where the code's running environment variables. It doesn't access them directly. Think of it as by value versus by reference. It's going to pass in a snapshot of your environment settings by value. So any changes you make using set environment are not going to be written to the actual environment settings for that OS. You can use set environment to temporarily change them in the context of your code while it's running, but it doesn't change it for the main system. So let's go ahead and run this code. Let me explain what it's going to be doing first. First thing is I'm showing how get environment actually gets the information from the snapshot of the environment settings. So I'm pulling down user profile, which basically is the same thing as home directory, but I wanted to show you that they're the same. So I'm printing user directory and home directory to show they match. And then I'm going to set a temporary environment variable and pull it back and show you that it got set. So let's go ahead and run this code. So we'll go up here, we'll hit Control F5 and enter, and it runs. You can see that the user and home directories are the same and the test environment got set. Now, let me show you what I mean by it's a snapshot and not actually updating. If this were really updating the environment variables, then if I were to comment out this set, it should still return a value here, right? So if it had gotten set in the actual environment variables, it'll still be there. So I'm going to comment that out, save it, and then I'm going to run it. You'll notice it's blank because, like I said, this is not getting set into the main environment variables. It's only getting set into the snapshot that's created inside the OSUtils. Okay, let's begin by taking a look at the get files and dir method. What this does is bring back a string array of all the files in the given directory. This is very useful for iterating over it or placing the report or whatever. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the first 10 values or echo back the first 10 values in my temp directory for my OS. The reason I'm limiting it to 10 is because I have a ton of files and directories in there and it would blow by on the screen. So you can see that I've got this set up. I'm going to iterate the first 10 and I've already added the files and dir example to my initialize. So if I come up here, hit Control F5 and enter, and there we go. So let's take a look at that. So you can see that the dot dot is just the up thing. If you think about when you do a list of directories, it's the go up to the parent directory. And then you've got .NET, these are directories, and then the files. And if you look in my thing, you can see that's what it's doing. It's these directories. So let's see what would happen if I were to filter this, which is a nice feature of the get files and dir. So I could actually put a mask in here and filter it down. So let's say I just want to get the log files, the first 10 log files. I could do star.log and save it and then run it. And when I hit enter, you can see it's pulling back the first 10 log files that's in my directory. So that's really useful for accessing particular files or a list of files or determining what's available in a given directory. Here's another handy method that I really like in the OSUtils VSE. If you've ever worked with Windows in the past, you know that the make dir command in Windows doesn't allow you to create a path, a full path of directories, and recursively create the subdirectories in a path that they don't exist. You have to walk it and go one at a time, checking to see if it already exists, and then creating it one level at a time. So make directories allows you to give it a full path and it will create any of the directories or subdirectories in that path that don't already exist. It will return true if the path given already exists or if it successfully creates them. So in this example, I'm going to set my base path is just this repository directory. And then I'm going to try creating these 3 new subdirectories in here. And if that works, we should see them appear over here. And also, if it works, I should get a true back that shows that it worked. So let's go up here. We're going to hit Control F5 and enter. And we'll see the directories were created. And if we look over here, here's test, subdir1, subdir2, which is exactly what we have in our code. Now, if I run this again, I should still get a true back because those directories already exist. And you can see I do get a true back. So this is a really handy way of creating new subdirectories for like putting an attachment in or storing a file or checking what's in it or whatever. Without having to do it recursively. Now let's take a quick look at the path utils. Path utils is a very interesting class in that it allows you to work with a path, a directory path, as a series of nested values. And this allows you to carefully build out a path structure and then return it as a string. So as you can see, it's very simple. You basically have add to path, which adds it to the path object. You have get directories, which gives you back a list of what's contained in our path utils object, and toString, which returns the path as a concatenated string on the delimiter. So let's take a look at the code. So in this code that I've got here for our examples, I've got my path object. What I'm going to do is initially I'm going to add in this path that is basically this repository's directory structure, right? So I'm adding it in. I'm going to get those so I can show them to you, and I'm going to run through them so you can see what it looks like reflected back and how it parses this out and then stores each value as a separate entity. And then I'm going to start adding to that path. I'm going to add like a couple of single directories and then a concatenated directory to show how that works. And then I'll reflect those back. And then I'll show you how in the real world you would use toString to get that back as a concatenated directory path so that you could do something like use it with make directories. So let's go ahead and run this code real quick. I'm going to go up here and hit Control F5 and hit enter. So first thing I want you to notice is that everything is busted out. So the directory 1 and 2, this is that initial call I had where we're looping through the ones I just added. I'm reflecting those back. The second one here is showing where the foo bar and hello world have been added in. So we've got the C, repos, foo bar, hello, and world. And then I'm using, and I reflect those back, and then I have the print statement that shows the full path concatenated back together as a string. Now I want to make sure you see that like these new directories didn't actually get created. It's not actually creating anything on the file system. It's just a way of working with and building a path as an object to make it a little easier in your code to do something like that and then reflect that back as a concatenated path once you're done. And that's it. That's our quick review of the OSUtils VSE and what it offers you as a VoltScript developer. Hope you enjoyed it and can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care.